Nader Hashemi, who's the director of the Center of Middle East Studies and an associate professor at the University of Denver. Nader, welcome to the program. How lucky is the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that he has Donald Trump as the U.S. president?
Well, extremely lucky, because Netanyahu has effectively received everything that he's asked for. Donald Trump is the most pro-Israel president in the history of the United States. And so I think Netanyahu and his supporters would very much like to see President Trump win the next election. But if Joe Biden comes to power, there won't be any significant shift in U.S. policy. So it's sort of a win-win for Netanyahu.
Who are the interests who are driving the Trump administration's thinking here? Because many people doubt whether it's the president himself. Many people even doubt if it's even the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. He may be the point man. But who are the interests that are really pushing this?
I think fundamentally it's the core base supporters of the Republican Party that have extreme views on the Israel-Palestine conflict. So number one, evangelical Christians. It's also the strength and influence of the pro-Israel AIPAC lobby, which doesn't represent all American Jews, but does represent a significant portion of them who have very strong hawkish views on Israel-Palestine and are willing to put their money where their mouth is and support the Trump campaign. So I think those are the two big constituencies that are really, behind Trump's thinking on Israel-Palestine. And I do agree. I don't think Trump is sort of the theoretician here, and he's being driven by these political interests, which he thinks will get him reelected.
And what do you think would happen if Joe Biden becomes president?
Well, on the Israel-Palestine conflict, there will be some minor rhetorical criticism of Israeli settlement expansion, but there will be no American shift in policy toward Israel-Palestine. So, for example, during the Democratic primary race, Senator Bernie Sanders floated the idea that the United States should use its leverage with Israel, the support that it gives to Israel, to get Israel to make concessions to the Palestinians. When Joe Biden was asked about this suggestion, he described it as ridiculous and totally unacceptable. So there's no hope in hell that Joe Biden is going to try and actually use the huge amount of influence that the United States has over Israel to get it to stop settlement construction and to make a just peace with the Palestinians. At best, you'll see some rhetorical criticism. You'll see Joe Biden sort of accept the decisions that Donald Trump has made on the Israel-Palestine conflict, the moving of the embassy to Jerusalem, the annexation of the Golan Heights, those types of positions will not be reversed under Joe Biden. It'll be basically a very pro-right-wing Israeli position that Joe Biden will adopt, and the Palestinians will effectively get nothing.
What about the Middle East peace plan as a whole? Would a Biden administration be able to row back on all of it? Is there any of it that the Palestinians might even see as a basis to start some sort of negotiations, or are they rejecting it wholesale?
Well, no, it'll really be a sort of a throwback to the Obama administration period. Remember, Joe Biden was Obama's vice president, and not very much was accomplished. Now, there were efforts made by the Obama administration in terms of diplomacy, but those efforts were blocked by the prime ministership of Benjamin Netanyahu, and the Obama-Biden administration basically allowed Netanyahu to cast a veto over diplomatic efforts that the United States were pursuing. There might be some, small shift in American position where financial aid that was cut off to the Palestine Authority will be restored. The Palestine Authority had an office in Washington, D.C. that can perhaps reopen. But the broader contours of a Middle East peace plan that might, represent a significant shift in U.S. policy will not take place under the Biden administration. I mean, just to give you an example, when the UAE Israel deal was announced on August the 13th, Joe Biden issued a statement, basically saying that he agreed with Donald Trump. He celebrated that deal as a, quote, historic breakthrough. And he, in fact, tried to own it. He said that deal was the result of efforts of the Obama administration that he was a part of. So on those broader questions of, a Middle East peace plan, Joe Biden and Donald Trump have almost identical views.
Nader, really interesting to hear your analysis. Thank you so much indeed. Nader Hashemi from the University of Denver.